Hello again. This is the instructions video for the assignment 6, which is the last part of the series of assignments you have developed over the course. And this is like closing the loop. This is the culmination of the previous reports that you have completed using the business that you selected for this case study application. So what you will do is develop a proposal for 3 activities or tactics or tools of the promotional mix, which are different activities that you have learned in recent weeks, particularly from chapters 9, 10, and 13 through 18. So you will build on what you have done so far to come up with a table that will look like this. This is an example, what you see on your screen, of a table that you must utilize and incorporate into your report. As you see, on the first column, you have the type of media and or communication that you propose to be used for engaging the target markets. Now, if you pay attention, the next rows of this table say that you have to propose television, radio, newspapers, or magazines in the first type of activity or tool. Then the next one will be either digital, social, or mobile media, which is basically internet-based media channels. And lastly, you have to provide a proposal for a face-to-face, offline, outdoor, indoor events, or other type of activities that do not fall in the first 2 types, right? So that's the first column that you need to use as a reference of what will be included in columns 2, 3, and 4. So I'm gonna go back here to the first page of the instructions where I'm explaining what are the specific details I would like you to cover here. So the purpose of this report will be to justify and support why you are proposing those activities in terms of the content or the message, and what are the outcomes that you would expect to obtain directly or indirectly, tackling the promotional goals that you have already worked in previous assignments, right? So you will use that table, and again, based on the categories or types of communication activities for column 1, you will include in column 2, first, a description of that specific promotional mix tool. And make sure to use the right terminology and marketing language that we've been looking at in the class and that is included in the textbook, right? So for example, do not just say that you will use coupons for discounts. The right terminology is that those coupons are part of sales promotional activities, right? So it's not enough just to say coupons, but you have to say that those coupons are part of the sales promotion efforts of the company or the business. If you are going, for example, to say that you will send emails to the target market or previous customers, etc. Well, that's fine, but you should also say that this is part of a database direct marketing approach as you have learned in chapter 17, for example, right? So you have to use the right terminology and not just say that you will use social media. Well, yeah, but what is what you will do in social media? Are you going to use influencer marketing? Are you going to run paid advertisement, etc.? You got to be more specific by using the language you are learning. Something important to include in column 2 is that you need to specify the timing or the sequence for that particular tool, whether it's going to be executed simultaneously to the other tools that you propose, or if this is going to be after or before. So for instance, you may say, well, I propose to utilize some sort of wide, massive tool for creating awareness of the brand or the business, right? Maybe through billboards, maybe through social media advertisement. So that will be directed first to generate or strengthen the awareness of your brand. And then later, at another point in time after that, a different tool of the promotional mix is utilized. So for instance, maybe personal selling efforts through telemarketing or phone calls, right? Maybe sending coupons or brochures, which are, again, sales promotions under the course terminology, that you will send directly once that the awareness has been built at an earlier stage, right? For column number 3, you will identify the specific media channels, platforms, networks, events, or outlets that you are proposing in column 2, right? So it's not enough just to say that you will use a TV station or a social media platform. No, you have to say what a specific TV station or radio station or magazine you are proposing to use for that specific location where your business is at. Like if it's in Corpus Christi, well, you gotta say what specific networks in Corpus Christi or elsewhere that your business is located and operating at. If you're going to refer to doing an event, well, what specific event, what specific festival are you talking about that you believe your product, your brand would be having a good fit with the theme, with the topic, with the type of customers or attendees that go there? And by the way, in that case, you should say, well, I'm going to be doing a sponsorship, for example, if that's the case, in certain specific event, which is a sports, baseball or soccer or football related event. So make sure to specify that. Now, in terms of some of the TV, radio stations, magazine, newspapers that traditionally were developed in the traditional model of communications. Remember that nowadays, many of these already have the online and digital versions, right? So you can, of course, propose television stations, although your target audience will not be watching a TV on their living room like in the old days or the ways was traditionally done. You can specify that it would be primarily through the streaming or television everywhere modalities, because many of these media networks and companies, they have, of course, that option already. And column 4, what is what you will provide here in column 4? Well, for each of those specific promotional mix tools, you gotta say how you expect you could measure or evaluate whether they have impact or not, right? So you are working in alignment with a goal that you have established already as to what is what you want to accomplish through these promotional mix activities. So you gotta say what is the way that you will measure and assess whether you are fulfilling those objectives. So for this, I recommend you to look at chapter 7. Remember, one of the applications for research in promotional activities and marketing settings has to do with measuring the impact of commercials, sales promotions, direct sales efforts, personal selling, public relations, etc. So you gotta say what's the way that you expect to measure those activities, be more specific as to where that information will be obtained or retrieved from, etc. And if you don't have sufficient information in chapter 7, you are free to use any other source or external material, but make sure that you include that in the references, and of course you cite it in the report according to the APA style and formatting. So one more time, remember, you will develop this assignment using a table which, depending on the 3 categories under column 1, will be describing the overall blend or mix of the promotional activity that you think would be more adequate and useful for your promotional activities and reaching the right target market that you have previously identified. Let me know if you have any question by sending me an email. Thank you.